Previously on Sister Wives.
She recounts the conversation she and Kody had during their last anniversary dinner. She tried to put her best foot forward, saying to the apathetic man that she wants to begin their relationship anew. She suggested that they start with curiosity. For once, Kody is upfront with his emotions. He says to the floundering woman that he has no desire for any insight into her life, and that isn't going to change anytime soon.
Meri, aren't you tired of pretending we have a relationship?
I know we can never have what we had before, but we can start something new. Why don't you start by being curious about me?
Meri, I know everything about you. I know your hopes, your dreams, your fears, and let's just say, I'm not a fan.
But aren't you curious about what I'm up to in Parowan?
Meri, if tomorrow you disappeared with no explanation, and I never heard from you again for as long as I lived, I am confident that even to my deathbed, I would never once wonder, whatever happened to Meri?
Actually, I am more than willing to work with that.
Oh, hold on for a sec. Christine just made an Instagram post. What? Nachos?
So no one told you that polygamy was bad. You have got no husband, your kids have got no dad. It's like you're always stuck in space in life when it hasn't been a good week, a month, a year, in your whole life. He's not there for you. He's afraid of being poor. He's not there for you, like he wasn't there before. He's not there for you. What doesn't he do?
Hi, welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Angie, this is my husband Tim, and today we are recapping from the inside of Brian Colwell's trailer. It'll be a tight squeeze in here, even without a Lexus.
Just needed 3 more inches.
So, sorry, man. Okay, so for announcements, I just want to get this off my chest. YouTube is becoming so frustrating in terms of putting copyright claims on my recaps. Last week, I specifically made a new intro using the instrumental from a song that said, Friends intro, no copyright on it. And I understand that certain songs still don't pass YouTube's detection system. So I actually tested it out before I uploaded it on my 1-hour video. I uploaded it as a shorter video on one of my side accounts and nothing was detected. And then once I upload the longer version, that's when they slap a copyright claim on it, which is frustrating because it takes 7 hours to render a 1-hour video. And long story short, that's why the new intro is an a cappella version. I just need YouTube to, as Janelle would like to say, get its poop in a group because they are so inconsistent in terms of what gets a copyright claim.
Hopefully this thing works.
I actually tested it out. I did put my intro as a 1-hour video on another side account.
Okay, good.
So this should work this time. Because of these copyright claims, which apparently doesn't go under the category of parody, I actually don't have enough legitimate watch hours to qualify for the YouTube partnership program. So at this moment, I am not able to monetize my channel. I'm thinking after this season is done, I'm going to do what I usually do during the off season, where I take somewhat of a hiatus. The most I will upload is maybe once every 2 weeks and sometimes even once a month, which is not a bad thing. That's usually where my best parodies are made during that time when I have longer amounts of time to work with. Just a heads up because lately I've been feeling like I've been running a marathon where every week is watch my recap, brainstorm ideas, make a storyboard of my idea, draw the assets, animate it, create the voices, sound mix, put it all together, upload it to TikTok, watch the actual episode, write a script for it, film it, render and repeat. It's just a lot of work, and at the moment, I am making a whopping $0 from this. So I will finish out the season, but after the season finale and what I assume are 3 episodes of Tell Nothings, I'm just going to go back to what I usually do when the active season is not going on. In August, I bought a lot of books so I could read. And lately, I've been using every minute of my free time just animating. So I would like to get back to my other hobbies, and Tim would like his wife back.
And my life, please.
Sorry. Okay, so let's get to what you all came here for. Sister Wives, Season 18, Episode 13, The Elephant in the Room. Did they have an episode title called Pink Elephant in the Room? They might have. That's maybe why they didn't use that before.
I'm just trying to figure out which elephant they were talking about.
Let's see. Yeah, it was vague. It could be in reference to anything.
Maybe it was the bit with the money and Janelle.
When she's talking about legal polygamy?
Yeah. Maybe that was the thing. She was talking about the real thing that was bothering her, which was the financial dependence.
We'll get to that. I have a lot of problems with her proposition.
Yes. Okay, anyway, the show.
All right. The episode starts off with Mykelti and Tony's Zoom gender reveal of their twins.
Okay.
Christine is worried how this brief virtual interaction will fare due to Kody and Robin having declared war on almost all of those in attendance.
This is combining so many things that I don't enjoy. I don't enjoy Mykelti. I don't enjoy Zoom meetings. I don't enjoy
Kody and Robin.
And I don't enjoy gender reveal parties.
Yes, that is the most upsetting factor for Tim. Kody lies in his confessional that it will be a fun experience to see everyone again. He purses his lips soon after that statement. Robin hopes just being present and all smiles will convince the adult kids that they shouldn't hate her, for she isn't that evil Disney villain they picture her as.
No, she's more like Professor Umbridge from Harry Potter. She's all smiles and evil.
When you're evil, smiling just makes it worse.
Yes.
Robin is Umbridge. She tells Gabe, who wears Harry Potter glasses, you need to do standards writing in your blood.
I will not tell lies about Robin. I will not tell lies about Robin.
Okay. Aurora gives us a totally scripted line, trying to do damage control about her mom. She says that despite what anyone feels, her mom has been the biggest cheerleader for healthy relationships and correspondence for Dad and the kids and Dad and the wives. Like, seriously, this girl needs to watch the actual show, because that's when she'll see that her mom says one thing but acts another way.
Yeah, I mean, even if she's being a cheerleader, if she was maybe in the game, that would have probably been more successful. Rather than on the sides.
Wait, Robin or Aurora?
Robin.
Okay.
Like a cheerleader. Cheerleader isn't in the game. They just are on the side.
Yeah, Aurora definitely feels like she's reading it off the back of her hand.
Or there's Robin in the background going like this.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. For sure she does that when Saul and Ari in the room, but she is also probably there when Aurora and Brianna are doing their confessionals.
I wouldn't be surprised if she did it with Kody.
She did do that. That's why during, I think, the last Tell Nothing, Kody had to have an Apple Watch and he kept getting text from her where whenever he was asked a question, I assume the text said, "Don't respond." And he's like, "I'm not going to answer that."
They need to get some sort of professional wrestler to be the interviewer in the tell-alls if they want anything out of this man.
Yeah, because again, Kody only feels comfortable around men who love and respect him. We'll get to that. Back to Aurora. While she's saying all of this, I'm thinking to myself, none of Robin's kids were here during this Zoom call. Didn't a certain someone last episode claim that these kids were devastated whenever they're excluded from stuff? This isn't even an event of a sibling that they were on bad terms with. It was with their favorite nanny, Mykelti.
They keep trying to spin this narrative. Oh, Mykelti's actually best friends with Robin and always has been, and the kids are just so super disappointed when they can't go to some dumb thing with their dumb family or something. But when push comes to shove, it doesn't look like any of that's true. It doesn't look like they actually want to go to do this kind of thing.
I think it also might be possible that there might have been multiple Zoom pages and we just didn't see them because that obviously doesn't fit Robin's narrative.
It's classic production to just pick and choose what goes in to create a story.
The only good thing about this segment is that two fan favorite characters make a long overdue appearance. Logan and Michelle have tuned in into this big reveal. Everyone makes the same guess as to what genders the babies are. They think the twins are a girl-boy duo. Mykelti feeds us more nonsense that this gathering is hopefully one of many future events. She hopes that these forced familial get-togethers will be a frequent thing and they will go back to being a unified family again. She maintains that all the siblings need one another and all of them need all their moms. Except Meri. That ain't invited to this.
Yes. I love how they're constantly saying, oh, Robin and Kody were invited to this, or they weren't invited to this, and this was just for Janelle and Christine, or just for these people, but nobody is saying all about Meri. I love it.
Yeah, Mykelti came off as overly preachy, and it was very upsetting.
Yeah, she was talking like her don't stink. She's just, I am God's gift to the family. Truly, if they just looked upon me, then their wounds would be healed and we would all be together once more. And it's like, get over yourself, girl.
So, I thought about this when I was watching the episode. Do you think if Tony and Mykelti didn't constantly try playing this game of being the new golden children with Kody and Robin, do you think Kody and Robin would change? Because there was a podcast interview that Maddie did recently where she went into more detail with her falling out with her father. And basically she said that there was a point when they were conversing that Kody sort of demanded that in order for him to be a grandfather to her children, that she'd have to put in the efforts to have them see him. And Maddie basically said, you know, my children are the gift. It should be the blessing for you to act as their grandfather and not the other way around. And I think that goes with last episode where she said that that's why her kids would not recognize Kody as their grandfather or who this man is because he is just inconsistent or he's unstable. And I agree with Maddie. That should be the end reward, is to have a relationship with Axel, Evie, and now Josephine. And Kody is saying, no, just look at Mykelti. She comes all the way to Flagstaff to have her daughter's first birthday here. Why can't you do the same?
Oh my gosh. I actually got really nauseous hearing you say that. The bit where it became clear that Kody felt like he was
the prize.
Yeah, he was the god descending upon the child to bless it with his presence and not the other way around is just so narcissistic. And also, these people live in
North Carolina.
In North Carolina, so far away, they don't have enough money to just be like, time to get on the plane to fly all the way out here.
Yeah, and Cody's the one with the TV show money. So it's just baffling why he is telling Maddie that they need to put in the effort to go over to Arizona. And I thought that was sad. So I'm thinking to myself, if Mykelti and Tony did not act like this, that would mean he has a terrible relationship with all of his adult children. But because, again, Tony and Mykelti are acting like the exception, he says, see, it is possible. You just have to act like these two.
I don't think that they should bridge the families. I think that they should just break off. Mm-hmm. I think Mykelti's actions are entirely self-serving. And I think that she is a selfish person and that she is not trying to bridge anything. She's trying to be the center of the world the same way that
Kody is.
Yeah.
Again, she's a mini Kody. The colored confetti cannons go off. Surprise! They are having 2 boys. Mykelti once again points out they are fraternal, so they will have no issue in differentiating the two.
If they're siblings at the exact same age and gender.
I mean, one is a redhead, and the other, I think, is blonde.
Yeah, but they didn't know that.
Okay. Janelle reiterates how crappy of a relationship Kody has with almost everyone in this Zoom room. The only reason the very self-centered man could stand being around all his children was because of the fact that he was there for Mykelti and Tony, who do like him. And again, I think Mykelti and Tony are enabling Kody and Robin to act like shitty parents.
Yeah.
Unlike her daughter's sadistic nature to watch the family gather at her convenience, Christine isn't like-minded. She doesn't foresee the family getting close. In fact, she herself isn't going to act no more than cordial in front of her ex and ex-sister wife. The virtual meeting is almost at a close. The failed patriarch makes an announcement to his adult children that it is possible he will fix their relationship with them. However, there are a few stipulations. He goes, "They want their dad, but they don't want Robin. We are like this. You guys are not going to separate us. That's not going to work." He then makes an almost sing-song voice as he boasts of this obstacle. And that's just the relationship we're gonna be in. Kody's just so delighted at how much of an he is. Another person who Kody can't separate himself from is Meri. What?
Yes, he can't separate himself from Meri, but he sure would like to.
As we see landmarks of Brian Head, we hear confessionals from other family members deliberating Meri's whereabouts. Janelle doesn't know where the first wife is. Kody doesn't know where she is. Heck, he thought she and Mykelti were at least on good enough terms for her to be invited to the gender reveal.
No.
Unlike her unaware ex, Christine straight up tells the camera that Meri will not be invited to anything centered around Mykelti and her children. As an adult, her daughter has the ability to choose who gets to be involved in her life. Meri is not one of these people. Christine leaves it at that.
Nobody wants Meri.
Yeah, I guess it goes back to the earlier years when Meri was extremely strict with the kids, particularly with Mykelti.
Yeah, or the way that she would treat the other sister wives.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, back to Paravan. We are once again reminded that the carriage house is undergoing a makeover for Meri's clothing boutique. She breaks Blair's promise and decides to take a sneak peek into the construction. There is not much to see. A lot of the renovations are still in its initial stages. I don't know why she bothered filming this.
Well, it's because...
She has no storyline.
No, her storyline is that she is sad and alone. Also, I think there's something so stupid about her saying, well, there's the potential that somebody's going to want to come in and try on the clothes. And I'm thinking, I guess it's possible somebody's going to want to drive down to the Amazon warehouse and try on the clothes there too. But that's not how it works.
Yeah, it's an online stretchy pants store. No one wants to try on the clothes. The very busy woman tells the audience, again, that her 32nd wedding anniversary was a pivotal point in her and Kody's marriage. That was the day Kody put everything in Meri's court in terms of dissolving their already dissolved marriage. We get her couch confessional of how much of a bigger deal these AUB marriages are than normal people's commitments to one another. She goes, "When we embarked on this, it was supposed to be for forever. How much is this eternal covenant worth to me when it means being eternally bound to someone who hates me? It's a lot to consider. Again, eternity with someone who hates you is hell. So if that's your version of heaven, I can't help you, Meri, because we're clearly speaking different languages."
Yes. In their religion, literally the only way for a woman to go to heaven is to marry a man. So to these women, they have a choice between damnation or Kody, and they're sitting here going, oh.
It's a toss-up, right?
I think that's from the Bible.
We shift gears up north to Salt Lake City. Christine is blue since Isabel's summer vacay in Utah is almost at an end, where the 19-year-old will be heading back to North Carolina to continue living with Maddie's family. Don't worry, Christine. Very soon, Isabel will be back in Utah. For Isabel's last supper with her Utah family, Christine has planned a surf and turf themed dinner. Mitch is grilling a bunch of steak and lobster tails for the occasion. As the feast is being prepared by Mitch and Aspen, Christine picks up Avalon, who is looking as cute as a button. The single woman relays that unlike Isabel's send-off during the time she graduated high school, this one is much more enjoyable since everyone is all settled now. Speaking of being settled, Isabel's older sisters ask the teenager if living in Utah is feasible. Izzy answers in the affirmative. Almost definitely, actually. She clarifies that she likes being in North Carolina with Maddie, Caleb, and their children, but would enjoy the company of a bunch more family. Of course, every self-shot scene wouldn't be complete without Mykelti and Tony asking Christine about her sex/dating life. The ex-polygamist woman restates that Kody was not only her first boyfriend, he was also her first kiss, a first kiss that didn't happen until over the altar. Anyways, Christine answers her son-in-law's question. Understandably, the 50-year-old woman is hesitant to start dating due to the fact that she is a public figure. Tony suggests that Christine use an alias. Once she lets down her guard around them, she can then reveal her true identity. Mitch is concerned Christine will date someone that already knows her due to being on TV. He didn't say that. That's what I deduced. His exact words were, I would just be concerned about the type of people you're finding.
Yeah, there might be people that really just
are obsessed with the show.
Yeah, some creepers. She's a public figure to a certain extent.
Tony continues to kid around, suggesting that his mom-in-law have two dating profiles, one for serious relations and the other for hookups. He goes, have an adult version. Mitch adds to the joke saying, farmers only. Despite the playful banter, Christine is adamant that she isn't into anything but a committed, romantic relationship. Mykelti and Tony ignore this and continue to push her buttons, saying things like, there is a lot of time to fish around, dip your toes in the pond, learn some new skills, and, quote, get reacquainted with your body.
I mean, none of those things are false, but they're also things that you don't say in front of
your mother-in-law.
Well, no, I was going to say specifically...
Truly?
I mean, oh God, yes, not in front of Truly. I was going to say not in front of a camera, in front of a television audience, but yes, no, you don't say those things in front of Truly.
Oh boy. As Mykelti and Tony continue their unwarranted advice, we see Truly poking Isabel on the nose.
Isabel doesn't appreciate it.
Anyways, just something I noticed. Christine wants to move forward and forget about all the hurts that made up her complicated past. Janelle is of the same mindset. This need to get away from Kody, Robin, and Meri was the inspiration to go on a road trip for that much-needed quality time together. Their destinations are the houses of Christine's younger brothers. They want to ride on their ATVs. This must be the same road trip Christine was talking about during a car confession.
Perfect. Car confession! Yes! Janelle and I are on a road trip today. So I'll tell you guys a little bit of story. So Janelle does not like my driving. It's true. She absolutely hates.
I have to be on my phone a lot. So I don't pay attention to it.
It was one of her many Instagram reels. They're wearing the same clothes. It's safe to say this was the same road trip. To fill up the time during the drive, Christine asked Janelle's stance on Robin's uncalled-for declaration, the one where she stated Christine wasn't divorced until their church officials granted that release to her. Janelle doesn't outright side with Christine. She acquiesces somewhat to Robin's assertion, saying the fourth wife is technically right if one still adhered to that belief system. This lukewarm answer somewhat peeves Christine. She outright asks her friend if she is the only one of the parents who have left the faith. The second wife has no explanation for Robin's flippant comment. Christine ventures that insult was a desperate means for Robin to validate her own spiritual marriage to Kody. If a wife just up and claimed divorce, then it would have meant their spiritual marriages were non-existent from the get-go.
I mean, yeah, Christine is assaulting their religion. She is saying, hey, the things that you do that you guys consider sacred are actually meaningless and they don't matter. And she's expecting Janelle to agree, but obviously Janelle's not going to agree. She's
way deep in the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, she is a Kool-Aid bather at this point. And Christine says, well, I'm not in the church anymore. Well, they don't care whether or not she's in the church anymore. They still believe that these are
sacred covenants.
That these are binding throughout all perpetuity, throughout the universe and any universes to come. They're like, we don't care that you don't believe it's real. They still are real. Mm-hmm. That's like a person who's saying, well, I don't believe that the law is real. That doesn't mean that they're not held to the law if they don't believe it. But Christine's, wait, you guys still believe in this shit? And they're just like, yes. And she's like, oh, wow. Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not surprised Janelle responded the way she did. Janelle then said something rather annoying. She agrees with Robin on the stance that their belief system is superior and that their marriages are more valid than regular ones. She goes, in our faith, our spiritual marriages mean more than the legal marriages. They aren't ones you can easily decide to not do. There has to be something that puts teeth in those agreements that we made. Christine then asked her friend if she had a similar reaction to Robin. Does her leaving without church recognition make Janelle feel her own spiritual marriage is invalid? The somewhat illogical wife clarifies that her marriage is pretty much void either way. Save for an actual conversation, Janelle states that she is pretty much 99% divorce. Kody hasn't lived with her for 10 months, nor has he been in contact with their last minor child in a month. So much for those bi-weekly dinner outings. Because he used to take Savannah out every 2 weeks. Speaking of the douche canoe, we see him driving around in another sports car in his stupid visor.
Are we talking about the stupid white car?
Yes.
Oh my god!
Despite all his wives leaving him, he can find solace in the, quote, special life he and Robin have created together. We are back for a cutting of some trees, part 2. Did I say cutting of trees? I meant trying to park a Lexus in a trailer. It's part 2 because it's another attempt of either Meri or Kody trying to make something mundane be some sort of grand metaphor about themselves. Kody is meeting up with his buddy, Brian Colwell. Apparently, the pretty well-off man has agreed to buy 2 vehicles from Kody, a pickup truck and one of his Lexuses. They are trying to see if the Lexus can fit in an enclosed transport trailer. If not, Brian will have to make the trip to Flagstaff and drive it to Oklahoma himself. Kody explains that Brian is here, quote, on business. Not only do Kody and him sell gun parts part-time, Brian also has a car lot, which is the reason for these purchases. I'm not sure what Kody meant by that piece of information. Is he saying Brian is also a used car salesman?
I mean, possibly.
Brian then says something that makes me think he actually doesn't know who his friend is at all. Brian tells the cameras that he agreed to purchase these vehicles due to the fact Kody would not have the time to work on them himself. After all, he's a very busy man who doesn't need another project. That's how I know Brian isn't actually a close friend, because everyone knows Kody doesn't do shit.
Yeah, he specifically said he's got so many wives and kids to spend time with, he doesn't have enough time to restore this car. And I'm like, he's not spending any time with these wives or kids. Do you not know? Do you not know that this man doesn't do anything? This whole segment had me just imagining just putting a boot print across Kody's face.
I remember that.
During the watching of the show, I would pick up my foot and I would just imagine my foot just putting a boot-shaped imprint on Kody's dumb, smug face.
Yes, well, thankfully we weren't close enough to the TV. Morty's here.
Yay, Morty.
Kody becomes emotional and wipes away a fake tear as he laments about giving up his 5th wife. Sports car. Hey, he didn't even need permission from his church to do this.
I'm sure he asked anyway.
Baldylocks emphasizes how much testosterone time means to him in order to build that fragile ego of his. His exact sentiments were, going through hard experiences are manageable when you have the camaraderie of other men who love and respect you. These friendships help distract me from tensions going on in my family. This activity gives me something to focus on. God, Kody, you don't need any more distractions to not focus on your family. And by family, I mean not Robin's family.
It's just like an errand. I'm gonna put a car inside of a trailer. Well, boy, I really needed this to distract me from the fact that I create all of these problems in my life.
More sawdust filler is shown, aka a montage of every time that stupid Lexus was on camera.
And then they ask everybody about the Lexus in the talking heads. Christine talks about how much she loves the Lexus.
This car was the location in which Kody and Robin made out for the first time. Fell in love. Robin smirks, saying, yeah, a lot of fun stuff happened in that car.
Saul was conceived in that car.
Yeah, Robin looks way too excited about the things that happened in this car.
Or on this car.
And again, that Lexus was the main focal point in their romantic couples picture. The one hanging in her bedroom. Sorry to see it go. More boring scenes of Kody trying to park the vehicle in the trailer.
The worst part was he had this dumb smile on his face, like he was the happiest anyone has ever been. And again, that's where the foot comes out.
Unfortunately, the worst case scenario comes true where Brian will have to drive the Lexus himself due to it not being able to fit by a couple inches. The metaphor Kody is trying to paint is that as a polygamist, he has always tried to fit square pegs into round holes, a decision-making process that ultimately backfired on him. The Lexus won't be hauled in this trailer, and he won't force it to fit by removing the bumper. This metaphor has been told to us about 3 times this episode. We get it. Let's move on, Kody.
Again, it's exactly the same as the cutting down of the trees thing from last episode. It's a metaphor that's so on the nose, and it's so boring and stupid. Why the hell is this even being filmed?
Yeah, it's just more evidence that Kody and Meri are the same person. Back to the gal pals making their way up to Burley, Idaho. Janelle knows full well she and Kody are separated. The only thing the very selfish man can think of in terms of how this marriage to Janelle is affecting him is the fact Janelle refuses to do things that make him feel like he is married to her. I like how his complaint is that she's not doing things to make him feel like he's married, not that they actually are.
Janelle is not a person that is super emotionally motivated by things. And Kody is, but Kody also is just super ultra crazy selfish and stupid and just lazy.
These two people just need something to force them together, or else they're just never going to interact. Even though Kody wishes Janelle would get in line, the very independent woman is content with the status quo. She enjoys cozying up to a book before going to bed with the dogs at her feet, something her absentee husband despised, because he hated having the dogs in the bed.
I mean, we get a lot of dog hair in my nose, because Morty's allowed on the bed, so I can...
Don't empathize with Kody, especially that aspect of him. We love the dog on the bed.
He's okay on the bed.
As Janelle drones on and on about how much better her life is without Kody, Christine tries to steer her sister wife to a more concrete level of thinking. She subtly hints that she herself revels in being a single woman and is enjoying every moment of it. Even with this cursory attempt to convince Janelle to find a better partner, the low-effort woman upholds the notion that she is not going to date someone new in the near future because, quote, that is too much work. I don't want to do that. She is too intimidated by singles mixers and the whole online dating craze. She mimics swiping a phone left.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy to understand concept, but you cannot like it, but saying that it's confusing,
Yeah, Janelle just can't be bothered. Just like Meri, Janelle reveals that a huge barrier to breaking her marriage off is her fear of God. She doesn't think the Almighty is cool with her decision to dissolve an eternal covenant. In the meantime, she is more than happy to wait on a sign.
I'm sorry, but any God that demands that you remain married to Kody Brown is not a God that deserves to be worshipped.
Yes. Janelle's insistence that she receive some sort of divine revelation in order to live her life is very frustrating. We then get some backstory into Janelle's origins within the Brown family. She was, of course, married to Meri's brother, so she was familiar with her. When Meri started dating Kody, she wanted to introduce him to Janelle. Upon their initial encounter, Janelle experienced that spiritual witness to get in on marrying this new man, too. More pics of Kody in his wrestling singlet are shown. Eventually, Janelle became straight with hers and Kody's back and forth flirting. She disclosed to the 24-year-old man that she, indeed, had a spiritual revelation to be one of his wives.
Yes? Do you want to make a note about how much Kody sucks?
Christine gets in on this nostalgia, saying that she experienced that spiritual witness to marry Kody as well.
I don't know. This kind of feels like what every 12-year-old girl feels when...
They have a crush on every guy.
Yes. It's very Tina Belcher from Bob's Burgers energy.
Yeah, where she just falls in love so hard with every guy she sees.
Yeah. Spiritual witness my...
Unlike Robin and Kody, who are constantly pining for a time machine, Christine imparts that she wouldn't have wanted it any other way. She was sealed to him when she was supposed to, had a good run of plural marriage, and then left when the time was ripe. On the other hand, Janelle keeps skirting around the concept of divorce. She labels the end of her marriage to having met its expiration date. She is just so adamant to not say she is divorced.
Well, again, she's not in the same place that Christine is at. Christine is at the point where she's ready to just burn it all down. She's ready to just stand on the rooftops and yell, polygamy is bullshit. This church is bullshit. I don't believe any of this is true. And Janelle still very much wants to function within that religious framework. Mm-hmm. And so the things that come so very easily to Christine are still extremely difficult for Janelle and for Meri
to accept. Oh,
yes.
Speaking of, Janelle belabors the fact that she is still a devout follower of their church. If she were to remarry, it would definitely be to a polygamist man. However, the prospects are low since she lives in Arizona, which has no venue for that sort of interaction.
Yes, because she needs to be part of a polygamist family to make it into super heaven. And she's not going to settle, but she also doesn't want to be anywhere near around
Kody and Robin.
She doesn't want to be near their planet, bringing down property values on her planet. So she's like, is it too late to get in with the Duggars or something?
They're definitely not polygamist.
Not Duggars, the...
Dargers, yes.
Is it too late to get in with the Dargers? You know... She's like, hey, can I just have the guest room on your planet? I'll do anything.
Yeah, their weird religion makes all of this so hard.
And Kody's the one that complains.
Mm-hmm. Christine gets the point and moves on. She diverts the topic to family traditions, specifically the traditions before Robin was in their big picture. We have Christmas, Easter, earrings, the sibling group exchange, possibly Valentine's Day and Joseph Smith's birthday. Add these to the list. Traditions Robin has also spoiled are Thanksgiving and Friday/weekend dinners.
Wait, how did she ruin Thanksgiving?
Pre-Robin, the family would have a 4-day Thanksgiving feast, which sounds amazing. I'd love to eat nothing but Thanksgiving food for a week.
I probably wouldn't be able to eat Thanksgiving food for 4 days, but I know Angie would. She loves that stuff.
Yeah, I like Thanksgiving better than Christmas, honestly. In addition, the entire family would partake in either Friday or Saturday dinners, something that was nixed with Robin's arrival. So, this part of the episode reminded me of something Robin said in their book. This was Robin's chapter in the family section, and I'm going to read it. Being part of the Brown family is exciting and surprising for the kids and me. I love that my kids have a ton of siblings around all the time. The other kids are often at my house searching for food. This is a common habit of all Brown kids, looking for snacks in the other houses. I specifically save leftovers for such raids. I always try to have ice cream and popsicles in my freezer so the kids won't waste money on the ice cream truck. Even if there isn't ice cream, there's usually something worth foraging for in my cabinets, since food has a tendency to last longer at my house. My girls and I don't eat a lot. I struggle to have an appetite. But Brianna and I are both hypoglycemic, which means we always need to have emergency snacks on hand so that if we experience a blood sugar crash, we can survive. Aside from our Friday night dinner and Sunday potluck, we don't get together as a family for meals, and we don't grocery shop together unless it's an impromptu event. We will coordinate our big family meals for holidays and birthdays by communicating who is responsible for bringing what. So when I read that part of the book, I came to a conclusion. Robin didn't want to participate in these family dinners /potluck /multi-day Thanksgivings because that would mean she'd have to divvy up something from her own individual family pot in order to feed the rest of the family. Robin decided to include in her part of the book that her and her daughters don't eat as much as the other children. So I'm thinking Robin is being cheap. She doesn't want to spend her money on the family because she perceives her kids as taking less than these other children she claims to have adopted, which is selfish because obviously Robin's part of the family take way more money that doesn't have to be in the form of groceries.
Didn't they go to like Hawaii or something?
Yeah.
Off of her grocery money?
Yeah, she made a tweet saying that if Christine wanted to go to Hawaii, she should save up her grocery money instead of feeding those darn hungry kids.
Also, Robin doesn't have a very healthy relationship with food.
Yeah.
And I find that very unlikely that she hasn't perpetuated that unhealthy relationship to her daughters.
Possibly Dayton. Again, there was that clip where Dayton poured himself some chips, and then she took that bowl back and dumped it back in the bag. It's like, you're not gonna be like these other brown kids that are always snacking on stuff.
There are other troubling implications, but...
Yeah. Kody, of course, defends the notion that Robin didn't sour any tradition. On the contrary, she has enhanced what was there since she is such a perfect sister wife.
It's so clear that Kody is simping for Robin, that no matter what Robin does, he's going to find some way to make it good, even when it's obviously bad.
Mm-hmm. Again, Kody is loyal to Robin, and not the other way around. Even with these conflicts, there is a bright side. Christine loves that she found Janelle. Janelle recounts the time when her friend broke the news that she was leaving Kody's ass. Her initial reaction was concern, not over the bigger family. She was worried she and her kids would lose contact with Christine and her 6. Janelle says, "I would miss you. I don't care about Kody. I don't care about Robin. I don't talk to Meri at all." Christine sums up what she and Janelle are in the grand scheme of things. They are the part of plural marriage that have survived. Kody and Robin are monogamous, and Meri is still a non-entity.
It really is true, the cartoon you did with Meri. If she was gone, nobody would even ask what happened to her.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of the theme. She's left out in the Star Trek one.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, where's everyone?
I'm missing out on something.
The two ladies finally arrive to their destination. Christine is here visiting her 2 younger brothers. She clarifies her relations to them. Steve, the older of the two, is her full biological brother, whilst Levi is a half-sibling from her other mom. The two guys grew up in the same house, so they are very close.
And Christine must have explained that in the most long-winded, confusing way possible on the show.
Yeah, I had to stop it and work out what exactly she was saying. Levi sets up the ATVs for the two ladies. The emboldened women proceed to ride them around town. After the excursion, the adults settle in the dining room to talk about, what else? Polygamy.
I know, right? Surprise, surprise. And Janelle is afraid that they're all going to try to talk to her about how bad polygamy is. And they've literally lined up on the table, everybody facing Janelle. Mm-hmm. And I felt kind of bad for Janelle because that's exactly what she didn't want. But again, just it's so on the nose.
Janelle's just sitting there poking her food, and everyone is just criticizing polygamy. Janelle asks what Steve and Levi's backgrounds are concerning growing up in a polygamist family. Annie, Christine and Steve's mom, was a basement wife. Not metaphorically, although that might have been the case. Annie lived downstairs whilst Levi's mom took up the second floor. For the most part, Christine doesn't remember a lot of the skirmishes that existed between her two moms. This ignorance made her seek this lifestyle for herself, so much to the point she knew she wanted to be married as the third wife when she was just 17. Steve tells a very different and harrowing perspective of growing up with two moms. Things were so tense. He likens the two parties to a bomb where at any given moment one was likely to blow up on the other. For some reason, Christine finds this hilarious and laughs at her younger brother's experiences.
I've seen people laugh at trauma like this before.
Mm-hmm. To diffuse a situation.
Maybe, or Christine really is just that incredibly ignorant.
Mm-hmm. Christine isn't entirely without sympathy. She harkens back to the time when she went through the growing pains of being a new polygamist. She, Janelle, Meri, and Kody lived in a small 3-bedroom trailer with walls that were so bad at muffling noise they might as well have been made of tissue paper. Back to the conversation at hand. Steve and Levi clarify they aren't polygamist. However, Levi considered the option when he was dating JC, his current wife. Steve adds that polygamy has been a force of bad overall within society and understands why it is outlawed. Janelle then says something stupid. She suggests that the easy solution to make polygamy viable is to just make those plural marriages legal. That would force the man to treat the woman well enough so she isn't incentivized to run away with his money. Okay, so this proposal that Janelle has to make polygamy legal doesn't make any sense because how would the assets of a man be divided if a woman were to leave? So let's say a man has 10 wives. If a wife chose to leave, is 50% of its assets going to her or 1/11 of his assets going to her? It doesn't really make any sense because if that's the case in a typical FLDS community, a man who has 60 wives would kind of benefit from that system because if a wife leaves, it would take away so little of his assets anyways.
Yeah, it's nonsense, especially the part where Janelle starts to laugh and say, oh, we're all going to take 50, it's all going to be 50-50 that we take from him. And that doesn't make any sense because ideally, marriage should have shared assets between two people. So 50-50 makes sense. But you can't take 50-50 if you have 3 women leave and they each take 50-50, that's 150%. Mm-hmm. You'd have to completely rewrite
the legal system?
Yeah. And it would not provide the protections that Janelle seems to think it would. It's not nearly as, oh, this is such a simple solution as Janelle and even Christine later in the episode claim it would be.
Mm-hmm. And just be clear, I know the Browns aren't FLDS. They're AUB. I'm just saying that legal polygamy would just be exploited the most by men in the FLDS. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because I know someone's going to come for me in the comments. Okay, the illogical wife uses this justification for legal polygamy as a means to describe her current deadbeat of a husband. She asserts that men can just ghost a wife indefinitely. They technically have no obligation to continue supporting households they've helped create. For the sake of these abandoned wives, Janelle believes legal claims would make it easier for women to be taken care of. Again, it solves one issue, but legal polygamy creates a logistical nightmare in the grand scheme of things. Christine paraphrases Janelle's comments, saying that her sister wife would most definitely have left Kody by now if they were legally married. This is because she would have had a claim to 50% of their shared assets, which, again, I don't think is how it would have worked out.
Yeah, no, that doesn't make any sense. Because if you took 50% of those assets, that means you'd technically be taking assets away from the other wives.
So, again, a guy has 4 wives. The first wife that leaves gets 50% of his stuff. Then the second wife that leaves gets 50% of what is left, and so on and so forth. I don't know why they keep saying that'll be how much they would get.
It doesn't make any sense.
The episode closes with Kody being a lying bastard. He upholds that he was always a man of such high integrity, where he always wanted each of his wives to be taken care of in the event they would leave him. He's basically saying he always wanted all of his wives to have their own asset. Obviously, that's not true, because he wanted to keep Christine's house as a means to pay off Coyote Pass and leave her with nothing.
Doesn't she own part of Coyote Pass? Or didn't she?
She traded her part of Coyote Pass for the house. Well, initially she had Coyote Pass in her name and her house in her name, but she's a bigger person, so she just sold Coyote Pass back to him for $10.
He pretends that he wants these women to be independent, but they're not independent. He wants them to be dependent on him and Robin. Yeah.
He alleges that each of the wives have 25% stake in Coyote Pass. Meri corrects him, saying Janelle's name is on 2 parcels and hers is only on 1. Even so, that equity isn't well defined due to it being shared with Kody and Robin and the fact that the land isn't paid off yet, so it isn't outright theirs. Janelle hopes that something will be in her name soon, and when that time comes, she is out of her non-existent marriage. End of episode.
In this episode, we get a Zoom call where we get to see Logan and Michelle's face. We get to see Kody lavish praise on his most beloved 5th wife, the Lexus. Then Christine and Janelle have a road trip in which Christine is shocked to discover that Janelle still believes in polygamy, and then we see Janelle go on a rant about how women need to be financially independent in polygamy, or else they might be in a horrible situation where they don't have any money or assets to their name. And if only we could overcome that, then all women would just leave their husbands in polygamy. Not personally, mind you, just in general. Was there any Meri in this episode?
No.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
Okay, thank you for watching. Here is Marty. And we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.